So guys, it don't happen. Take a look at this headline and it says anxiety as Trump seeks to designate drug cartels as foreign terrorist organization. Hey. So guys, when I saw this headline, I was like, God, does it mean this is going to affect Nigeria considering the past of the president? And you can see, looking at this image, you can see the image of Tinubu and that of Trump. So I'm like, does it mean Trump is going to like go back to see those who have committed this kind of, crime in the US to like designate them as terrorist organizations? So guys, a whole lot of challenges, are expected under this Trump administration for Nigerians. I mean, considering the president, because people have been saying that Trump will not want to work with Tinubu, considering the way Tinubu emerged as president, because all these things were all over the news. Don't forget the Chicago State University saga, on how Trump graduated there, and they said he didn't graduate, and that they had a name, and there was no name. All those things that happened then. So people have been wondering why Trump, in the first place, did not even care to invite Tinubu to his inauguration or any person, to even go and represent Nigeria, and a whole lot. Don't forget that a professor recently on an interview told Tinubu, advised Tinubu that Tinubu should not even he should just try to avoid Trump, that Trump is a bully, that he should avoid Trump. For a professor to come out and say that on Channels television, then it means that the relationship between Tinubu and Trump is already sour. I mean, they are not having a good relationship at the moment. And I'm just wondering how this is going to affect Nigeria and Nigerians, how it's going to affect us and all that. Anyway, Mr. Dele Mamadu was on Channels television and he also granted an interview in this regard. Let me just allow you to take a look at what he said about Trump and the Nigerian government and all that. Just take a look for yourself.
So talk to us about this inauguration and perhaps what it means to not have an African leader in sight.
Well, I think it was a glorious day for America yesterday. I watched from beginning to the end. And I didn't see too many foreign leaders in attendance. So I don't think it was a discrimination against African leaders. And also remember that they had to adjust a lot of things yesterday very quickly. They had just a few days because of the weather forecast that suggested that it was going to be bitterly cold in Washington, D.C. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. It was an American inauguration. And Donald Trump, he wanted it his own way, and they did it his own way. But it was a very glorious day. I didn't expect it to be as grand and as colorful, but all the different events, and I was very impressed by his energy. I haven't been a big fan of Donald Trump personally for various reasons. But yesterday, I had to salute him, that it's obvious that God loves him. Anyone who is spiritual will know how difficult it is for you to lose an election 4 years ago and coming back 4 years after as president. For me, it was surreal, and we must give it to God, that God has a way of doing his things in the affairs of man.
The United States is a powerhouse. Africa must look to what happens there and how it affects us. We also know that Donald Trump, on the one hand, has had some issues with African countries, using some really strong language to describe African countries, and now he is president. Under his tenure in the first 4 years of his administration as 45th president of the U.S., Nigeria enjoyed some sort of relationship. I think to a great extent it was more security related. So perhaps you could speak to that and what Nigeria hopes to gain or otherwise as he takes office.
Well, I'm an opposition politician, and my advice always to African countries, and especially my own country, Nigeria, is to stop worrying about what foreign countries can do for you. It's about what you can do for yourself. Chief M.K. Abiola used to say it repeatedly that no one can shave a man in his own absence. If Nigeria is not serious about doing things right, then we should not expect that it will take America or any other country for that matter to save us. We need to save ourselves. Nigeria has everything to make us the best in the world. We have the best brains. We have the most energetic people, most ambitious human beings. Everywhere I've been in the world, and I've been on all the continents, I've found Nigerians doing great things. So I think those days are gone when we should be worried about what America will do for us. America will find Nigeria when we find our own level. Donald Trump will not be rude to us. Donald Trump will not ignore us if he knows that Nigeria is on the right path. You will remember that in the last couple of American administrations, even Obama, our own Obama, a man I like to describe as a Kenyan, he came to Africa. He didn't come to Nigeria. So a lot of American presidents have avoided coming to Nigeria, and there must be a reason. We're the best, we're the biggest. If you go to the United States today, if you were to empty America of all the Nigerian professionals, I'm sure America would almost collapse. That's how important we are in the scheme of things. But unfortunately, when we come back home, it's always one bad news after the other. So my advice to our current government is that, look, let's do things right, and the world will respect you. Nobody respects you if you don't respect yourself.
Well, that's a very good point. We also do know that no country is an island, and so you need some support from other countries, especially for a developing country like Nigeria compared to the United States. We know how much Nigeria has benefited, but how impactful that has been is another kettle of fish. And I guess that's why Nigeria is perhaps considering the BRICS invitation. But before we talk about the BRICS invitation, can we talk about this new executive order that Donald Trump has just signed, banning birthright citizenship?
You see, I mentioned earlier on that I haven't been a big fan of Donald Trump. A lot of people would tell you that he's right because he's thinking first about America and not about others. But America must also remember that what makes America America is the fact that it is not your typical country where there is discrimination. It's a land of freedom. And the fact that you could go there today, give birth to a child, and the child automatically becomes American, that was one of the major attractions why people used to fly to America. And if America is great today, even he acknowledged it yesterday, the sweat and labor of those who built America. Donald Trump's parents came from somewhere. His wife's parents came from somewhere. I saw his father-in-law yesterday. So if we all now say because we have crossed the bridge, we don't mind the bridge collapsing, I don't think it's a very wise decision. But those who will defend it will defend it. A lot of his supporters were Nigerians. I used to see how people would attack those of us who used to criticize Trump on social media. That we should shut up, it's good for America. So if it affects us now, we cannot complain. I'm not an American. But once upon a time, the British government protected me, protected my family, protected the present president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We were in exile. I was in exile for 3 years in Britain. And without the protection of Britain, if anyone said, oh, I was an illegal immigrant, and chased us out of Gatwick Airport when we landed, I don't know where I will be today. I don't know where my family will be today. So for me, America remains #1 country because of its openness, carrying everybody along and picking the best brains from everywhere. One of the things that will happen ultimately with all these anti-immigrant laws is that, it happened in Britain when we started hearing about Brexit, where we had queues at petrol stations, where we couldn't get cleaners, we couldn't get, all the vocational, artisans to work. Because the so-called original owners of the land usually take things for granted, and they will not do the menial jobs that those immigrants are willing to do. So, but we'll wait and see what will happen. Right now, Americans are saying, no, we don't want foreigners because they are criminals who eat dogs and cats and all that. But like I said, we can only watch and see what happens ultimately.
Nigeria now has an option, I believe. I mean, if the U.S. doesn't seem to play along in our favor, I guess the BRICS option is the next. I've listened to the president's spokesman talk about what Nigeria stands to gain from being a partner at BRICS, which is not a full position, not cannot make decisions or perhaps contribute to resolutions, but that partner status of Nigeria at the BRICS is being questioned, and many say that at a time when the president is creating good relationship with France, and then hoping that those calling for appointment of a U.S. ambassador just to further boost the relationship with the U.S., and then the BRICS option is coming up. What would you say in this regard?
You see, when we talk about BRICS, let's start with the countries that make up the BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and later South Africa. Now we have Ethiopia, we have Egypt, we have Iran, we have the United Arab Emirates. I can tell you confidently that Nigerians are more familiar with the non-BRICS countries, and we've had a long-standing relationship with those countries, beginning from Great Britain, where we had our colonial masters. And when you walk across from Britain, then you take the tunnel into France, then you go into Germany, you go to Italy, you go to all these different countries, the United States of America, Canada. So those countries, yes, they will be good as trade partners, but I am not sure of how many Nigerians would want to go and live in China today. I don't know of how many Nigerians will go and live in Brazil, or how many Nigerians will go and live in Russia. So in terms of trade, okay, fine, we can do a lot, but then our traditional partners must not be abandoned. And I'm talking about Great Britain and about the United States of America. There's nothing wrong. Of course, Nigeria had joined different organizations, including the OIC, that was controversial at the time, the Organization of Islamic Countries and all that. So there's nothing wrong with joining as many as we can. But I would not say that they can play anything major than what they're already doing.
If you take a look at most of the countries that make up the BRICS, it's population-based. Nigeria is has the largest population in Africa. So you don't understand why it would be an interest to big nations like that. And for those who argue for it, some say that we need to look at other agreements. For example, the African Free Continental Trade Agreement, which was supposed to boost trade, improve job creation, increase, address poverty issues, and increase the standard of living for Nigerians. However, it didn't really favor us because there were certain aspects of that we needed to work on, one of which is infrastructure. So perhaps we should look at what Nigeria stands to benefit from being a member of the BRICS, because we must weigh the positives and the negatives to be able to achieve a middle front. Also considering that the BRICS arrangement proposes a non-dollar trade system.
I think it's still all semantics. It's a play of words. Practically, charity must begin from home. Nobody can ignore Nigeria whether in terms of population, in terms of our purchasing power, in terms of our drive, in terms of our ambition. Nigerians are amongst the most ambitious human beings on earth. But as I said, it's not about bricks, it's about what we bring on the table. We should stop worrying about what others will bring to us and worry more about what we will take to others. And if you look at our trade deficits, you will see that the balance is not usually in our favor. Until we begin to produce, we must go into aggressive production and distribution. Then you will see that whatever organization...
The point I'm trying...
Yes.
So that's the point exactly I'm trying to bring in here. Because when we talk about trade, it's more about what comes in, what goes out. If Nigeria gets more that comes in, how will this affect Nigeria, considering that our production level is not at exporting level yet? Should this agreement be delayed? You know, like I gave an example with the African Free Trade Agreement. Is Nigeria at the point where it can go into that kind of agreement with big countries like Russia, India, China, who have the population and production?
Trust me, most countries want to come to Nigeria and grab something. That's the attraction. They know that we have little or nothing to offer them. So when you see leaders coming to Nigeria and dancing around our presidents or inviting our president to their countries, it's because they know there is something we have. We have the purchasing power, we have the manpower, we have the brain power, we have everything. But unfortunately, when it comes to trade, we have little or nothing to offer. We produce virtually everything from abroad. And that is why the dollar, it doesn't matter whether you decide to use Russian currency or American currency, nothing is going to change because we are not offering anything. We are not offering anything. If you see smaller countries in Africa, you'll be amazed at their export level and the kind of money and resources that they are able to bring back to their countries. We have so much, but we have problems even with agriculture. Today, if you go to Tesco or Sainsbury's or Asda in England, you will see products from Africa, from smaller countries. You will see groundnuts, you will see macadamia nuts, you will see cashew nuts, and they will put it there, macadamia nuts from Kenya. You will see pineapple from Ghana. You will see peanut yam from Ghana. So what is wrong with our own yam? What is wrong with our own pineapple? If ordinary packaging, when I can't understand it. And that is why when people start talking about all these highfalutin foreign policies, I wonder what it will bring to us. We should stop running to people. Let us sort out our problems at home. And you will see that everybody will know we're serious. When you are serious, nobody can ignore you. That's the reality. Nigeria, for me, is the best country on earth. But unfortunately, have we packaged it? Have we been able to convince the outside world about how beautiful our country is? So we must be intentional about it. We must be prepared to work. Patriotism is not about just being in government, grabbing power, grabbing positions, and then what do we do with it at the end of the day? Nigerians are great people. But unfortunately, I don't know what is stopping us. Sometimes I want to think it's a spiritual problem. But like I said, I'm sure people in government are watching. We will continue to appeal to the conscience of our leaders that, please, this thing, God has already provided everything for Nigeria. We don't need to wait for any country to help us. We can help ourselves and even help those countries.
All right, I'd like to talk briefly on the transition in Ghana as well. President Mahama has close ties with individuals in Nigeria, and I think you're one of those individuals. I saw you at the inauguration. So we might as well talk about what this means for Nigeria-Ghana relations. If you could quickly speak to that.
Well, everybody knows that the current president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, lived partly in Nigeria. His father was in exile in Nigeria. and he had a stepmom from Ofa in Kwara State. He also spent time briefly in Kanu. He speaks impeccable Hausa. In fact, whenever we visited President Muhammadu Buhari at that time, they used to speak Hausa to each other. He's very much at home in Nigeria. He has friends in every part of Nigeria. And Nigerians love him so much. That is why the last inauguration on January 7th was majorly attended by Nigerians. You would think it was a Nigerian inauguration. Almost all our top 10 billionaires, except one, attended that event. I believe that it will improve our relationship. You know, it's always been a husband and wife kind of relationship. There is always that rivalry between Nigeria and Ghana. But with Mahama, he's a very, very cosmopolitan gentleman. And he's an academic, a great man of history, and a man who wants to build a legacy for himself. What has happened to him is very similar to what happened to Donald Trump in America yesterday. His was even bigger because he was out of power for 8 years. It's not easy to come back to power after 8 years as a president. And so Nigeria-Ghana relationship, I believe, would improve under his watch. And I'm looking forward to exciting times in the next 4 years.
Okay, let's talk about briefly about the leader of the UK Conservative Party. It would seem that every week she trends in Nigeria for denigrating the country. Some say rightly so. Some say she's traumatized. Others say that there's no need to continue to do that. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, because even the vice president has had a word on it as well. Do you think that it's justifiable? Because her words are really sending some strong signals to the international community about how terrible Nigeria is. And she says this many years, that this happened many years ago after she left just before she left Nigeria. So if we look at what she said, she experienced at the time and what it obtains now, would we say that she's still right, or have we moved past that?
Let me confess that I'm a great admirer of accomplished Nigerians, wherever they are. It's not easy to come out of Nigeria and go somewhere else and become that distinguished. God has been very kind to Lady Kemi, as I like to call her. But I think she should try, no matter how traumatized she's been about Nigeria. We've all been traumatized. I was in exile for 3 years, as I mentioned earlier on, but I will never speak evil of Nigeria, especially in a foreign land. She does not need to abuse or attack Nigeria for her to become the next prime minister, if God says she will be prime minister. I like and admire her. She has done very well for herself. She should resist the temptation of putting Nigeria down. That would be my advice. And I'm sure maybe some of her family members are watching. Those who have access to her, I wish I had access to her. I'll sit down with her and tell her, please, look, Nigeria is still one of the greatest countries on earth. Forget about her. Don't let's cut our nose to spite our face. Just a few leaders, less than 1,000 people, have brought us to where we are now. And we should not, because of that, now throw Nigeria into the Atlantic Ocean. Nigeria is a great country, and Africa is a great continent. And I pray and hope she will become that prime minister, but she should not forget that charity begins from home, and we love her. It's not those who, even those who are attacking her, they are the same people who normally attack Nigeria on social media, but Nigerians don't like anybody abusing us from outside. I remember Chief Gani Fawemi in those days. Whenever we tried to interview him on a foreign soil, we say, no. I don't abuse Nigeria outside Nigeria. When I get back to Nigeria, then I will come and abuse Nigeria. And I think Lady Kemi should adopt the same system. When she comes home to us, and let her come and advise her on how to run a good government in Nigeria, on how to live according to best international practices and all that in Nigeria. But when she's in London, let her concentrate on the ruling government. She can say whatever she likes. There are enough problems even in Britain. No country, no nation is perfect. But Nigeria, we must defend our country. This is the only country we have. whether we live abroad or not, we must still come back home someday, because there is nowhere sweeter than home. It's unfortunate that she has said a lot of bad things, and Google never forgets about Nigeria. But I pray for her and I wish her well. I pray one day she will be that prime minister of the United Kingdom. I mean, we had original Britons who became prime ministers. They didn't disparage their country. When an Indian was there, I didn't hear the Indian complain about India. So there is no reason why Kemi cannot defend Nigeria, despite our obvious shortcomings. We have plenty of problems, but those problems are not bigger than what anyone can solve. And I believe sooner than later, Nigeria will be the best place that God has made it to be. It's not for fun that Nigeria is the biggest nation in Africa. Everywhere I go, despite people complain about Nigeria, people respect our brains, they respect our tenacity, they respect our vision. So I'm very proud of Nigeria. There is no question about that. And I would advise anybody who feels bad about Nigeria, sometimes we need to bottle up. You can see that these days are hardly right, because there is no way you are going to write, you are not going to abuse Nigeria. And I'm tired. Yeah. Go on, please.
Well, that's a matter of leadership, because I listened to her say she doesn't want the UK to be like Nigeria. That's how putting the UK, a new country, first. And you listen to President Trump also talk about America first and his immigration laws, and his move to make sure that his countrymen are put first. And it raises a question of leadership in Africa, specifically in Nigeria. Because one of the things I had tried to get you to speak to is to compare what Kemi had complained about and what obtains now. I mean, the complaints she made were 16 years ago when she left Nigeria. So 16 years, at the age of 16, I believe, when she left Nigeria. So many years down the line, are we still on the same path? Is the leadership improving in terms of governance and how it deals with the people? And to put that the same way the UK and she put it and Donald Trump put it, Nigeria first in everything. So I can at least be proud when they go up.
I left Nigeria on July 25th, 1995, which makes it almost 30 years on the dot. 30 years ago, we had the military government of General Sunday Abacha. Nigeria wasn't a bad country. Nigeria was a good country, but with political upheavals. I wouldn't say Nigeria. So if someone left Nigeria 16 years ago, it means that it's very recent. And I wouldn't say Nigeria 16 years ago was terrible. Nigerians have been traveling globally for as long as I can remember in the last 2-3 centuries. Nigerians have attended the best schools, institutions in the world in the last 3 centuries. Nigeria was the first to produce a Nobel laureate for literature, Professor Wole Soyinka, ahead of Egypt's Naguib Mahfouz. Nigeria produced Chinua Achebe, who wrote one of the most successful novels in the world, Things Fall Apart. So saying Nigeria, they do this, they do that, no, I think it's unfortunate. You cannot, because of a little boil on your body, write off the entire human body. No.
Nigeria.
There are irritants
leadership
everywhere.
I think that's what this points to. Don't you agree?
Nigerians have learned to be their own leaders in their own homes, in their own offices. We all provide electricity at home. We provide security. We provide water, borehole water. We provide. Nigerians are masters of improvisation. So forget about, despite everything, Nigerians are leading in Cambridge, they are leading in Oxford, they are leading in Harvard, they are leading in Yale, in Stanford, everywhere in the world. Nigerians are doing great things. So please, yes, we have problems, we have Boko Haram. In New York, on a single day, 3,000 people died. If that happened in any part of Africa, they would have banished that country from the face of the earth. But we are still keen not to go to New York. People have been killed in different parts of the world. Every day in America, they are shooting people. In Chicago, in Atlanta, every single day, people are dying. In schools, kids are being attacked. Nobody will say because of that, then America is a bad country. No, no, no. As for defending Nigeria, and I'm defending Nigeria reasonably. I have enough reasons also to complain about Nigeria. But those reasons are not big enough. I am a proud Nigerian everywhere I go. People see us as a proud people. And it's not going to solve our problem. Abusing Nigeria is not going to solve our problems. No. No.
All right, Chief Momodu, let's talk about this issue with opposition and leadership. Because we see that some opposition members are already beginning to form alliances ahead of the elections, which is just 2 years from now. But as they say, the earlier, the better. The SDP convened a meeting of some opposition members, including former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. I don't think that Mr. Segun Showunmi was there on behalf of the People's Democratic Party. So I'm just going to ask you, as a member of the party, what you think about that alliance.
Read like every other person on the pages of newspapers, and I watch Shehu Okibaloye almost every night, discuss these things. I don't have the facts, and I don't like to speculate. My job as a journalist is to make my investigations, and when I have the facts, I speak to it. But right now, I'm just reading like every other person that there are meetings ongoing. Nobody has invited me to any meeting. I know that we have very critical problems in PDP. There's no question. I'm not ashamed. Every now and then, I tweet or put on Instagram my comments. I speak freely. I'm even surprised that they have not suspended or expelled me from PDP, because what is going on in PDP is extremely embarrassing. We should be leading the opposition parties in Nigeria. But it's like we are virtually giving up. We are allowing one or two people to hijack our party and to insult everybody every now and then, using public resources, to attack people who have not offended them. So those who are already in power and enjoying power should enjoy power. But once upon a time, the current president and people like us, we were in opposition. And that's what even gave the president that popularity. Every time when people say, oh, why are you not supporting your friend and your brother? I said, no. I was in opposition before he became a candidate of APC. And I choose to remain in opposition. I'm not fighting. It's not a personal battle. I will never disrespect the president of my country. But for me, it's embarrassing that we're not able to practice true democracy in a civilian regime. That worries me a lot. And if I have the opportunity to appeal to the president, I'll say, please, the only legacy you can live in life, it doesn't matter how long you stay in power, the only legacy is to make sure that the democracy you fought for, you allow it to thrive. Let us try and fail. Do you understand? So let us try and fail. And then let us try, and if we win, so be it. After all, President Goodluck Jonathan is alive today. He lost the election. He didn't die because of it. And people respect him globally. It's not how long you govern that matters. It's how well. And I wish President Tinubu the best of luck on this assignment, because he needs to do a lot for Nigeria.
The beauty of democracy is the opposition. And many argue that as it stands now, there's no opposition, especially because the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, is more or less in disarray. But let's stick with that merger conversation or the alliance conversation, because we know how important it is, considering that is how the APC gained power. You're unaware of a possible merger, I like to think so, that involves the People's Democratic Party, despite the fact that the party is in crisis and there are some who believe that a merger is the way out.
Well, I don't know what is the way out, but my concern is that for us to have proper democracy, there must be opposition. And some of us have chosen to be a part of that opposition. I am unrepentantly a member of opposition. But are we serious as members of opposition? The answer is no. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Important to form an alliance, because the political analysts say that as it is now, the PDP has no strength to go against the All Progressives Congress. Is that not why it is important to have an alliance? Or do you not think that an alliance or a merger is important for the PDP at this point?
You see, I will stop talking about PDP for now. I'll just say opposition leaders should come together. Once upon a time, it was only a fraction or faction of PDP that joined Buhari's party at that time and joined Tinubu's party, and then they were able to produce number one from Buhari's party, CPC. They were able to produce number two, Oshibajo, from ACN, and then you had Dr. Bukola Saraki from the PDP too, as they were called at the time. Yeah, that is still very possible. So, but what I'm saying is that right now, it is obvious that the government of the day does not even want any form of opposition to happen. And that, to me, is very unfortunate, because you can't hold a man down and you keep punching him until he dies, and then tomorrow you say you want to do an election. Then what's the purpose of doing any election? We might as well just, form a monarchy and then begin to transfer power from person to person. There is no point wasting our time and resources on elections, because elections, credible elections today will be very difficult to take place in Nigeria. That's the truth. So it's not just about PDP.
For your party, it would seem that it gets worse. And it gets worse because while one party or the other says, let's hold on till the convention in December, you still have words being traded. You have two national secretaries. Minister of the FCT, Wike, is not satisfied with Senator Adolphus Wabara as a BOT chairman. So there's a lot happening within your party. And you say that there's no way forward for your party as it stands now.
Look, I don't want to talk about Wike. Once upon a time, we were friends. I don't want to talk about him. I watched him yesterday.
I'm just talking about the back and forth within your party.
No, but you all know that the back and forth is sponsored by only one man. And that's why I said I don't want to talk about Wike. I wish him the best of luck. He's an adult and he's free to
My question is,
yeah,
because Senator Adolphus Wabara has already replied saying that he doesn't want to respond to joint issues with Wike as well. So the question now is, this is a board of trustees chairman. You have a party chairman as well. Your party cannot do anything. Or do you also agree with those who say everyone should hold on until the convention?
No, they know why they're asking everybody to hold on. If you hold on till the convention, the same people who are holding power now on behalf of APC will remain in their offices at Wadata Plaza. That's what will happen. So they know why they are saying so. Because they don't want PDP to have the strength to challenge APC. That's all. There is no other. And those who are supporting them, those who are funding them, those who are encouraging them, they know what they are doing. But like I said, I'm a part-time politician. I have my job, and I just do my job. I'm a man of modest income. I'm not chasing too many things in life. So those who want to stay and remain irrelevant in life can continue to do so. Because how can you kill your own party voluntarily and say you want to wait till the convention? By the time the convention comes, then election will be a few days away. So what can you arrange? What can you mobilize within that period of time? It's one crisis. They can't hold next meeting. They keep postponing and giving excuses. So when you say we have two secretaries, national secretaries, don't we have two emirs now somewhere in Nigeria? So Nigeria has reached a dead end, and only a miracle can take place. We have reached a dead end already. We're going nowhere. Terry, we're going
I
nowhere.
completely agree with you when you talk about the fact that it's almost become a norm in Nigeria for disputes. But I think that's the beauty of democracy, that everybody must not toe one line. However, if you find yourself to be in one position, you must understand why and work in that regard. You, as a member of the People's Democratic Party, you call yourself a part-time politician. But regardless, you are really active in politics and full supporter of your former presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. And the argument now is that he shouldn't run for office. Do you think him not running for office in 2027, if he perhaps declares that now, would sort of allay some fears and sort of bring some peace and calm to your party?
I've written about it. Why should you tell anybody not to run? It's not my business who wants to run, who doesn't want to run. Why would you? Okay, what is so special about Atiku Abubakar that they are afraid of? Why are they afraid of him? If he says he wants to run, and he has the resources to run, and he has the good health and the stamina to run, why are you saying he should not run? Let everybody run. Once upon a time in 2022, it was the same group now holding PDP down that declared our primary open. That's why Wike was able to buy form. Even before my brother Peter Obi left, he too, I believe he had purchased his form or was on his way to getting the form when he realized that some people have formed a blockade. So for me, anyone who tells Alhaji Atiku Abubakar not to run is being disingenuous. He's just one man in the party.
Okay, so what would be a perfect opposition, in your opinion? Because we've seen defections now. The Labour Party was touted to be the next big opposition, but we've seen defections from the Labour Party. They also have their own internal crisis. We've seen defections from the People's Democratic Party, and it seems that the party to go to now is the All Progressives Congress. And you say that the president is trying to stifle the opposition. So what exactly is the perfect opposition here?
The perfect opposition is freedom of association without anybody using the police, using different arms of government to stifle opposition. The perfect opposition is there. We have it. We have, in fact, the biggest opposition, I call them the floaters party. There are people who don't belong to any party whatsoever. But they are helpless. Because if you speak too much, some people are coming to attack you. Some people are coming to use state power to intimidate you. So that is why I'm appealing to the president that, look, once upon a time we were in opposition. So allow opposition to thrive. If he does that, in fact, I will carry his name all over the world, carry a banner and say, thank you, Mr. President. There is no reason to be afraid of. Look, Palapata, you do, I'm speaking Yoruba now, you will do 8 years. After that, Buhari has already done 8 years. His own party is abusing him, attacking him every day, saying he left a useless economy and everything for Nigeria. So when that 8 years come, if Asiwaju does 8 years, some people will praise him, some people will abuse him. But one thing he must not fail to do is to encourage opposition to thrive. He must not fail in that one. You can fail in everything else. But the moment people begin to describe you as someone who frustrated others, who wanted power, using the power of state, I mean, that to me would be unfortunate. Because he worked very actively with us. He was a great fighter. I've said it everywhere. He fought for this democracy. Even when the Obasanjo government was trying to frustrate him in Lagos State, we all rose up and stood behind him. I wasn't a member of their party. I've always been an opposition politician. I've always been a part-time politician. But whenever any Nigerian is oppressed, you can be sure I will rise up and speak truth to power, regardless of who.
Exactly. Specifically, do you fault the president's interference in the opposition?
Do I fault what, please?
President interference in the opposition.
Oh, I mean, you can feel it from my voice. I feel very sad and frustrated that why did we waste all our energy fighting the military if we're going to end up with this kind of... And most of the people causing these problems in Nigeria today were people who did not lift a finger. In 1995, I never heard of a Wike before. In 1995. So Wike says today, I'm the most powerful man, that nobody can do anything in Nigeria without me. Nobody. That's fine. God has given you power. But don't use that power to oppress others. Just do your own and leave the rest to God. But all these things that over my dead body, Atiku will not go anywhere, this person will not go anywhere, and people are coming on television every day to disparage Atiku. Why you should not run? How can you tell a man not to run? Why are they not telling Asiwaju not to run? If they are bold, let any of them who they are saying Atiku is old, this person is old. Why are they not asking Asiwaju not to run? I dare them to try it. It's not about age. Donald Trump was way younger than Joe Biden when Joe Biden was vice president. And after Obama, would you expect that such an old man as Biden will run? So if God wants him to be president, fine. And if he runs and he fails, it's okay. But I can see and I can sense a fear of...
Is it your opinion that those who say that the opposition, the PDP, has continued to do one thing over and over again and are expecting a different result, that they should change that? Do you think that that doesn't make any sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense to me. What are they doing over and over again?
Try.
That because they had an Atiku who contested the election, did Buhari not contest 4 times before he became president of Nigeria? He contested 4 times. He even gave up at the time. Asiwaju even said he cried at the time. When it was God's time, he became the president. Did people not tell Donald Trump not to run again? Was Donald Trump not charged on all kinds of allegations? And he still defeated everybody and became the president of America yesterday. That's instructive. I respect people who can follow their dreams. I respect them.
In all these, you haven't said what your understanding is of what a solution could be for your party.
Look, for now, we're all frozen. PDP, as far as I'm concerned, is frozen. Nothing is happening. We're in a state of inertia and almost in a state of helplessness and hopelessness because there is a superior power somewhere holding it down. That's the truth. Look, I told Alhaji Atiku, I think I met with him about a month or so ago, and I told him, I said, if not for the fact that I don't want to send wrong signals, I would have left PDP since, in frustration. But people will say, oh, he wants to go and join the ruling government. No, I don't have such ambitions in my life. I just want to live my life in peace. I'm a writer. I live by writing, and I'm okay. But I want Nigeria to be a place that people can have freedom of association, freedom of speech, where nobody is oppressed. It's been there for centuries. But unfortunately, the politicians we have today, they are almost worse than the military in terms of their attitude to power. Right now, it's a question of absolute power. Absolute. So, and that's why I stopped talking, I stopped writing, because anytime I write, oh, you abused your friend Tinubu, oh, trust me, I've virtually given up and I've left it to God to sort Nigeria out. When it gets to that stage, I'm a scholar. I've studied world history, I've studied the literature, I've studied philosophy, I studied political, everything. I've never seen a country where it becomes almost impossible for opposition to operate in a democratic environment. It's just unbelievable that a day will come. I used to boast that nobody has ever succeeded in hijacking Nigeria. Nigeria has been hijacked today and we are helpless. And like I said, we leave it to God. I don't even want anybody quoting me that I'm the one disturbing anybody. No, I'm tired. I'm just tired. By the grace of God, I'll be 65 very soon. I've played my part, so I'll leave the rest to those coming behind or those in their 80s who still want to practice these things.
Okay, let me quickly get your thoughts on the tax reform bills. It would seem that the Nigerian governors have, had a midpoint. I'm sure you've seen the report. So perhaps you could talk about what your thoughts are on the bill just ahead of, because once National Assembly is done with the budget, they would be going into the tax reform bill proper to pass it. The president is bent on passing that, and there have been some adjustments. Grounds have been shifted, as they say. What do you think?
I don't know what grounds people are shifting. The thing is that whatever government, and in this case the federal government, feels that it is right for they are the ones operating our economy. They are the ones who know what they want to achieve with it. I don't know why the governors are going against them. People have said that governors themselves are mini presidents in their own right. So I've read everything, and trust me, I cannot make head or tail of it. If the federal government is convinced that they are doing the right things, let them go ahead. They have enough majority to pass whatever bill they want to pass. It will not even take 2 seconds. Let them go ahead. When the petroleum subsidy thing happened, it happened with a fiat. We're living with it. Nigerians are resilient. If that is their belief that they need to do these things to put our economy in shape, I'll support it. I don't have anything against it. I'll support it. Because all the arguments...
Okay. That's good to know, coming from you. But then again, I'd like to ask you just one final question just before we go. And it would be on general state of the nation, because the administration would soon be marking its second year. So perhaps you could look at the first half of the administration and what you expect in the next half.
You know that by the second half, which means you are entering the third year of the administration, politics begin again. And we're going to be distracted. And that is the sad part of Nigeria. We'll spend the first 2 years. Right now, I don't know if we've been able to achieve anything tangible. I leave that to the Nigerian public to determine. Whatever I say, they will say it's because you are in opposition. So I pray, like I said, that Asiwaju will succeed. But from what I'm seeing today on ground, a lot needs to be done.
Okay.
The profligacy, my major worry in every government, and I've written about every government before now, is that I've not seen that sense of concern about how politicians waste resources. If only they could tackle that, you will see that there will be enough. Chief Abiola used to say it, I love to quote him, that there is enough for the need of every Nigerian, but not enough for the greed of some Nigerians. That's the problem. If we are serious,
all right, Chief,
we will get far.
That's it.
So guys, like you heard me say in the beginning of this video, that I'm just wondering the kind of relationship Nigeria and the United States are going to be having under the Trump and Tinubu's administration. I mean, these two people, they are not best of friends. I mean, Tinubu and Trump, from all indication, they are not pals. They are not working together. And you know that, looking at the way the last election went, the 2023 presidential election, it was all over the places. These things, we are living in an internet world. It was all over the places how the election was rigged, how INEC chairman came out to tell us it was they had a glitch and all that. And people are saying that for the fact that Tinubu emerged through that process, that undemocratic process, I mean the way that the election went, that there's no way you expect Trump to give him that respect as the president of Nigeria. People have been saying all kinds of things, and Trump is already showing that by his body language. The things he has been doing, you can imagine Tinubu was not invited to the inauguration, neither was anybody under his government invited. And this headline now, people are now attributing it to Trump, to Tinubu. Trump coming out to say that he is going to designate all drug cartels as terrorists. Hey, God. Now, everybody's linking it now to Tinubu, because Tinubu has once had such an issue in the United States. So, guys, what does this tell you? That tells you that, things ought to be done properly. I mean, in Nigeria, common elections, look at what happened in Ghana. Ghana proved to the world that elections can be democratic. Elections can be done properly in Africa. As in, Africa can prove that they have matured. But when it comes to Nigeria, because of the level of desperation among these politicians, they are ready to do anything. You know, we guys already started telling the whole world that come and win in Abuja now. Come and win, let me see. As if he owns the people, as if he will be the one to go and force the people to vote. You know, like you see some of the roads he's building, he's just doing all these things for political reasons, not because he really wants to do it for the masses. Some of these things are strategy for 2027, but I think we have outgrown that because we know the kind of personalities we are dealing with. We know the kind of people we are dealing with. We know their gimmicks. We know whatever the strategy they are trying to put in place. So guys, let me know what you think about all this. What do you think about Trump's relationship with Tinubu getting sour by the day, even though Trump has just, you know, started his tenure? What do you think, and how do you think this is really going to affect Nigerians when it comes to, you know, them benefiting from the United States in terms of getting visas and traveling to the US? And also, we know that we also depend on the USA for some of our military arms, you know. I'm just wondering how Trump and Tinubu are going to be working together in a very cordial relationship. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.